local government autonomy. 13 states rush to hold council polls. That's the major headline here. As we see, Bauchi has fixed its local government poll for August 19. Kogi has fixed its own for October 19. And then we also have Jigawa, Imo, Anambra, Abia, Katsina, Kebbi, Benue also set for exercise. So the story reads, no fewer than 13 states have fixed dates for local government elections in the aftermath of last Thursday's Supreme Court judgment, which prohibited federal allocation to council being administered by caretaker committees. I've just mentioned a few of the states now. So on Tuesday, the Kaduna State Independent Electoral Commission has scheduled October 19th as well for the council polls. As as we have now the different states now scrambling to try to keep up as regards ensuring that their local governments have access to. But I just want to ask a question, with everyone scrambling to get their elections done at this time now forward. So say for example Kogi and Kaduna that still has up until October, so what will happen to their funds, the local government funds, from now till that October?
They'll move it.
They'll be keeping it for them.
No. What a lot of them are going to do now is that they're
no
going
allocation at all.
No. They are going to rush to hold the elections now. For those of them that were waiting, for example, till maybe October, November, out of about 21 states now, I think 13 have already scheduled elections for August. And I'm sure before. A lot of them will rush through this election process.
No, that's what I'm saying. Say, for example, Kogi and Kaduna have scheduled their own election for October 19. Both states have said, okay, October 19 will hold election. So what will happen between August and September? What's going to happen to?
Well, with this ruling, the federal government will have to keep the monies for them. It happened in Lagos when Obasanjo held local government funds for months, almost 4 years. Eventually, when you are actually release the funds. So, if the law says that, look, if you don't release monies to an elected local government chairman or local government administrators, then it means that the federal government would hold on to the money until the elections are conducted. But you know what? I'm not so excited about all of these announcements of elections.
Okay.
These elections are not really elections; it's just a selection process. The same party of the governors would win all of these positions. The councillorship seems to be taken also by the party of the governor. So I think what they are now doing is, okay, if you say we should not use caretaker committee chairman, we will still put this caretaker committee chairman through an election process, and we know what the results will be. So, like we said, when the Supreme Court judgment was announced, we have not solved any problem. I can tell you for free that we have not solved any problem. The governors are meeting today. The Nigerian Governors Forum are meeting today. To discuss, I think, majorly this implication of the Supreme Court judgment. As you may have noticed, Sandra, a lot of the governors are so pleased, even though some of them are pretending to.
A certain other state governor,
that one is so annoying. It's not even hiding feelings.
It's not at all. It's been saying quite a lot. Yeah, that the federal government cannot dictate what the states can do, which is still referring back to true federalism and the independency of nationals.
Exactly, the true federalism conversation has to the fact that it has to be the federal government and the state. That the local government is supposed to be an appendage of the state government, really, not to exist as a separate level of government under a true federal system of government. So it's not the only one. You see that a lot of the governors are so pleased, and I think what they will be doing at different levels.
Sorry to cut you short there, but we also need to look at something, because I'm looking forward, to having a lawyer to actually dissect this for me, because the Constitution recognizes 3 tiers of government.
That's the Supreme Court interpretation. You see, if you listen to Barrister Court,
we have another interpretation again.
No.
Okay.
If you had followed what Barrister Court said on Sunday, you will know that there are a lot of inconsistencies in the 1999 Constitution.
Yes.
In one breath, it recognizes only the federal and the state government, and of course, seeing the local government as a part of the federative unit at the state of national. Again, the same local governments were also listed in the same constitution. constitution. If you even read section 162 of the Nigerian constitution has become a problem now, subject to all manner of interpretation. If you had read the editorial of the Punch newspaper, you understand what we're saying on this same matter. They said the Supreme Court was wrong, and that's the fact. Really, if you want to follow the principles of true federalism, it has to be the federal and the state. The states are now supposed to decide how they want to run their different local governments. But what we are saying, and if you also listen to what Mr. DM of the Guardian paper said last week on the station room, the reality is that the Supreme Court judgment seems to have interpreted this section of the Constitution, creating its own idea of what federalism should be in Nigeria, not the way it's supposed to be. So it's almost like a ruin of necessity, based on the problems we are encountering with the overbearing nature and the corrupt nature by which governors are now managing the funds of the local government. You understand what I'm saying? So, but if you are going to follow the true principles of true federalism, the Supreme Court judgment is a contradiction of what's in the Constitution. But again, it's the final court in the land, and that's why the governors are saying, look, we're going to review this judgment and decide how to implement it going forward. In fact, your state said it's going to set up a committee to review the Supreme Court judgment. But this committee can never be superior standard to the judgment of the Supreme Court. So it's still long days ahead, really, to really get to know what the implications of this court judgment would be. But again, it is what it is. It's unfortunate that we're at this level because, again, our politicians have not been well behaved, really, when it comes to the management of funds of their people. And that's why we're at this mess.
Well, 13 states rushing to hold council polls. As we all know, I think Delta and one other state held its own elections over the weekend, last weekend.
It's just election. There's no,
exactly. Where
we just want to put people there, that's all.
Caretaker chairman just announced, the PDP has won all the seats. Thank you very much, everybody.
They just announced that everybody go, man, that's all.
All right, thank you very much. Moving on now, still on the front page of the Punch newspaper, we also have here, court declines Emefiele's request for a foreign medical trip. And that's just an update as regards the struggles, the trials and struggles.
Yeah, they're always willing to go out of the country for treatment. I don't know. When they have this problem, it's
flight risk.
It's not even just that, they don't even trust anything here. They know how badly they run the country. You understand? So it's not even about Emefiele really. A lot of our leaders don't even trust.
Generally speaking,
they don't, because they know how badly they run the country. They can't even use the facility there. And these are people who every day will tell you, we've done this on health, we've done this on education, we've done this on infrastructure, but their children can't even school here. When they fall sick, they travel out of the country. They can't even use our hospitals. What does that tell you? They know that they badly run the country. They run the country aground. They know that those things are not really working. It only works for the poor Nigerians who have no option.
All right. Well, that story is on page 7 of the Punch newspaper. Moving on, we also have here, crypto billionaire and technopreneur has been arrested for alleged fraud and terrorism funding by the FBI in the United States of America. And there are two of them, actually. The story is on page...
Second or third hush copy. I know the sad part about these guys that you commit these crimes and you flaunt it on social media. No decorum.
No, that's it. How will you know
no decorum?
How will you
Okay. So you rip people off, you commit these high levels of fraud, and then you come on social media and begin to
let's not
people's faces.
Let's not give them tips. Let's not give them. They should continue to live large so that we can continue to catch them.
I'm surprised about their level of intellect, really. These criminals are supposed to, one would think that at least they should be that intelligent. So that, look, the more you put yourself out there, the more they begin to question you, the more they begin to dig into. So much what you was also doing the same.
Well, there are different kinds of intelligence. I think at this time,
criminal intelligence sometimes.
Social intelligence is very. I think that's where they lack. That's where they are lacking. Because if they have an understanding, then they wouldn't probably go deep into that.
They can steal people's money, but they are not intelligent to right.
That's very unfortunate.
It's unfortunate, but this one is FBI, and if you look at the allegations, really, one would assume that these are still allegations. Very weighty allegations.
Huge one. There's romance one there too.
No, that is everything, and it's all joint.
All encompassing.
All encompassing.
All right. Well, the story is on pages 4 and 5 of the Punch newspaper. This is Mainland 98.3 FM. It's 1 minute past 8. We're live on Facebook and YouTube, so you can drop your comments as the show progresses on different, stories that we're going to be looking through on Trends in the Papers by Mainland Focus. We'll read them out as the show progresses. So you can look out for our handle on Facebook and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. All right, we also have here, U.S. promises timely delivery of attack helicopters to Nigeria.
Yeah, that's a good one. But, again, I hope we're not going to start these conversations again. There was a time we were talking about Tʀᴇ.
Finish delivering the Tʀᴇ. Do we have all 12 now? Because there was supposed to be 12, and I think we are taking delivery of about 6 or 7.
Sandra, just yesterday or a day before, remember that I said that when it comes to government announcements about things, you have to check and recheck, check and recheck. That was how we were told that we have a 20% stake in one refinery, only to now know that it's only 7.2. So when you ask me about Tʀᴇ, I don't have any information until I see that yes, we have 12 Tʀᴇ somewhere in Nigeria. I probably just think that all we were hearing then were just headliners. Because if you remember at that time, anytime we talk about insurgency, how to defeat the terrorists in the north, the only thing the officials to tell us that, we are waiting for Tʀᴇ, that's the game changer. We don't know whether the game changer has arrived or not now, or what numbers we have with the Tʀᴇ. Now we are talking about attack helicopters. At the end of the day, this government will be judged. Just say we are judging the last administration that had a completely dismal performance when it comes to tackling insecurity. It was a very woeful performance. Like every other thing the government did within security, it was a completely woeful performance. This government is also on that line now. The ratings within security is so bad. So whether they get the attack helicopters or not, until Nigerians begin to see that the numbers are dropping, the number of kidnapping cases, until we begin to see that the bandits are no longer disturbing our farmers, until we begin to see tangible results with the fight against insecurity, I think all of these things would amount to nothing. Even if they bring 1,000 helicopters, the results will determine how far the government has gone with tackling insecurity.
Well, more details of that particular one on page 25 as regards, delivery of attack helicopters to Nigeria. Moving on now, we also have here, right on the front page of the Punch, federal government warns 22 states of 5-day massive flooding. We keep getting warnings, we keep getting alerts, but we don't know what are the measures that are being put in place by the state governors. Yes, proactive measures in order to, all we hear is state governors telling people, move to higher grounds or relocate or something. But what are the things that are being put in place? I really don't know, but this is another warning. Let's just put that into consideration.
By now, you should be getting details. Okay, these are the relocation centers,
the emergency management states
of the different states, this is the time, and this is even the time to begin to see the local authorities working very hard, putting things in place, because these are the people that are really close to the people. So these evacuations we are talking about, sensitization, again, because don't be surprised that a lot of the people in the vulnerable location may not even be people who are aware of this danger coming. You understand what I'm talking about? The real local
orientation, yes.
Orientation. So do we have local authorities going into those communities, working with them already? The environmental agencies and the emergency agencies, are they moving up there? Are they helping them to clear their drains? There's also what they call the flood breakers. Sometimes you have communities already building flood breakers, temporary flood breakers, at least to reduce the effect of the flooding when they eventually come. If you read that story, it's also unfortunate that the journalists were asking the government officials there the situation with the Lagdo Dam, and he said that he is not aware of what is happening with that. So is there an exchange of information amongst our agencies? Because by now, if the emergency agency is talking about flooding and warning states, I think by now they should also have information about the situation of the Lagdo Dam in Cameroon. Are they going to release the water? Or they release the water? He's saying that that's for the Ministry of Water Resources to tell you. It's warning people about flooding. One major thing that can lead to flooding in part of God, you don't have information. So you understand what I'm saying?
That's alarming.
The last episode we had of serious flood in Nigeria, the Lado Dam was a serious factor. And so if you are here warning about 20-something states of flooding ahead, and you are saying that by now they should go ask another minister on the situation of the Lado Dam, then it's unfortunate really. Are you just coming to tell people just because you also want to be in the face of Nigerians that you are doing something?
Well, I really don't know what to make of that, but more details on page 28. Page 28 of the Punch newspaper. I mean, but I don't think we should be surprised. We once upon a time we had a minister of finance who said, "Oh, I'm not aware we're going to be having new currencies." So this is not really much of a surprise. But this one now is a huge.
It's a matter of life and death.
Exactly, because this is a matter of life. Exactly. Yeah. That's why this one is a huge cause for concern. If the person in charge
of emergency management information as to what is happening with the Lado Dam. Are they releasing water this year?
That's why we always talk about the fact that our government seems to be more reactive rather than proactive. Because if you are an emergency management authority, you're supposed to know, okay, emergencies that could come up or disasters that could come up. Risk management is also a part of emergency management. So I mean, the risk that could come with flooding, this happened once upon a time, I think we should also take some measures that in case it happens, it doesn't affect us. Exactly. But there you have it to say, speak with the other minister because I can't be stressed. Moving on from that particular report is on page 28. We also have here NNPCL meets military and police to curb oil theft, and that's on page 7 of the Punch newspaper. All right, and we also have here.
Sandra, we are planning massive agri mechanized farming. We brought in the military into the conversation. Again, I think this was Mr. 괡ɪᴜ talking.
Yeah.
About that the president has issued orders.
He had a meeting with the CDS and the IG actually yesterday. That's General Christopher Musa and the IG 𝐴̀dìẹ̀gbẹ́tókun. They had a meeting with 괡ɪᴜ as regards oil theft and pipeline vandalism in the Niger Delta. So,
but you know that the military has always been involved. At least the Navy and the military has always been involved. So is there any new directive? Is there any new idea? Because for all we know, there's the Kantita arrangement, which is the Tompolo arrangement, the former militants arrangement, and we have the naval forces, we have the Nigerian military, who are also big part of the fight against coup theft in the Niger Delta. So what has been the rate of success? Because again, before you begin to issue new directive, have you done a proper evaluation? Are there new things you need to do, or do we need to create more Tompolo arrangements? Maybe Tompolo is not doing the job well. Do we need to continue the arrangement with Tompolo or not? You understand what I'm saying? But for me, I see these things as all motion without movement. This new directive, what is it going to bring to the table now? Is it going to change anything? Because this is a directive that has always been there. The military has always been a part of the fight against oil theft. Unless you are saying we are going to do something different for what we've been doing.
The president has given a marching order.
It's always a marching order.
Chief of Defense Staff. But if we have an arrangement as expensive as 4 billion every month, I think if it's not working for us, shouldn't we have a review or I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
Have a conversation around that.
Because again, basic planning principles, resolving any crisis shows that look, when you implement an idea, you also have to get to a point where you evaluate to decide whether you have to continue with the plan or discontinue with it. An evaluation is always with data and figures. So before this time, what was the amount of food that was being stolen? Has it reduced significantly? Then you can say, okay, let us wrap it up more. Let's do more of the plan. If it has failed to reduce the amount of food that has been stolen, you do away with it and then come up with a new idea, or you retain the idea. That's what I'm saying. That what are we coming to the table with, or at this time that is new? We have always been giving marching orders, right?
So what's new that's been brought to the table?
That is it. What is exactly is new. Military has always been the military authority. talking about crude oil tech. So what is new now?
The story is on page 7 of the Punch newspaper. Moving on along very quickly, we also have here minimum wage. Labour threatens 30-day strike. Alleges plan to decentralize talks. As it is, and I think there's a state that they've already gone into some sort of... I'm
surprised that I thought they were going to resolve all of this tomorrow. It was said that Thursday, the federal government and Labour would have been able to harmonize their thoughts on this and comes, but now that Labour is threatening...
Because apparently, according to Labour, that there are plans, from the National Assembly to remove Section 34 from the exclusive legislative list to the concurrent list, so that state governors can determine what to pay you, and so that there will be no minimum wage again. All right, so that is where they're coming from as regards this particular plan.
I told you, if you remember, almost close to a year now that this whole minimum wage conversation started. If you remember, and I said the Labour leaders in their negotiation with this particular government have to be very methodical. They have to be very intelligent. They have to open their eyes, open their ears, and also work with their brain more than their mouth. Because these negotiations are coming from a government that can dribble them to submission. That will dribble them to submission, dribble them to confusion, dribble them to paralysis in thinking an idea. And that's what we're already seeing. You can see how uncoordinated the labor movement is now on this negotiation. They don't even know what to hold on to. They are so disjointed, they are so disorganized. The last time they met with the president, they said no, they didn't discuss anything because they just went to the president and the answer up. Can you now see that, look, what I predicted and what I said at that time is what is happening now? Anyways, we'll see how it all ends.
Yes, sir. Yes, I will see how it all ends, because I don't know. Ajara said, and I quote, the very moment the House of Reps and the Senate come up with a law that will not benefit Nigerian workers, they will be their drivers and gatemen, and there will be no movement for 1 month. We cannot accept any situation where the governors and the National Assembly members will foist a slave wage on workers and force poverty on the citizens. Organized labor will not accept it, and that's where they're coming from, saying they're going to ground the country for a month if such a law is passed. That story, you can get more details of that still on the front page of the Punch. So rather,
I would still advise them to use their brain more than their mouth. The labor leaders.
Okay, 14 minutes past 8, and this is trends in the papers on mainland 98.3 FM. Well, let's move on now to the Guardian newspaper and see what we have there as the major stories. Don't forget, we are live on Facebook and YouTube at mainland 98.3 FM, so you can drop your comments even as the show progresses. All right, we have here on the front page of the Guardian the major headline: new electricity tariff, blackout looms as 11 universities struggle with 2.92 billion naira bill monthly. Amount paid by universities for electric. That's a very, very unfortunate one there. But it's maximum or minimum or funding for tertiary institutions from the federal government in order to be able to resolve all of this. I think just last week or so we started the conversation as regards the fact that the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital and also the College of Medicine as well, went on a protest of some sort due to the fact that there was no light, and so no light meant no water as well, and it was a huge problem, especially for the student doctors that are there. And I just remember that as against, recently when the doctors that were just being inducted recently were told, please don't japa, this is not the time for you to japa.
Why would they not japa now? so when they see that their hospitals don't have public power, there's no light, and people are telling them that, come over out here, it's not just light, you have better working conditions, better environment, there's a better future for your children, you have to keep birth to them there, and I don't know to japa.
Well, unless the federal government intervenes, activities in the country's public universities may be grounded to an abrupt halt over inability to pay an average of 2.9 billion naira monthly to power these institutions. and most of them are expressing fears of backlog from a total of 1.1 billion monthly bills across 11 federal government-owned universities nationwide. Some have already been disconnected from the national grid due to millions of unpaid electricity bills. Others are still connected, but they are still grappling with huge amounts of debt. Riders to this story: Band A transition doubles power bills across most institutions. I was speaking.
More than double.
Yeah.
It's about people.
Triple. I was speaking with a friend yesterday as regards her photo studio, and she said, "Oh, she just told them, please just disconnect me. I don't need the light again. Thank you."
And they are killing her business. The friend is probably going to shut down that business or downsize. We'll have to spark some workers.
She has even downsized stuff. Because at this time now, and even she can't even afford to get fuel, because even if she wants to run on generator, it's also expensive. Aside from that, okay, in order for her to be able to meet up, she has to increase the fees of her services. People cannot afford.
They rather use their phones to take pictures.
There you have it. So maybe people will not do pre-wedding photo shooting.
No, they will begin to check, and of course a lot of them will look at the options of using their smartphones when it becomes so expensive to do the same.
University.
So the frequency of the sales will drop for her.
Yes, of course.
So you can see how businesses are being killed by some of the things we've been talking about. Okay. Especially this band A arrangement. It's going to kill businesses. It's already affecting public health institutions. It's affecting our public. You know why our leaders will never use our public hospitals? They know there's no light there now. You know why? You now understand why they will never send their children to our own university, because they know there's no light there. Because
most federal universities that fall within Band A have seen their monthly electricity bills quadruple. That's 4 times of what they used to pay before. Before, it wasn't even easy for them to pay, and now it is 4 times more. So
and if you ask the government now, they'll say they can't fund. No, you can't expect us to fund. There's no money to do anything.
Say for example, Unilag, University of Lagos, which used to pay 180 million, now has to be paying 300 million.
How are they going to do it?
Unilorn went from 70 million to 230. Look at that.
You see, monthly,
not annually, monthly. And then you have University of Ibadan, 120 to 280.
Okay.
All right, and then you also have Ahmadu Bello, also moving from 105 to 350. Depending on the territorial grounds that these universities cover. Some of these universities have
the facilities
the facilities are a lot. Imagine
most federal universities have massive structure.
Exact. That's the thing. So even University of Nigeria went from 80 or thereabout, is now on about 80 or 100 million thereabout. You also have
every month, put that in a year.
All of these schools. Now you have schools that have colleges of medicine. That's another issue. So you say, for example, College of Medicine, University of Lagos, or Lagos University Teaching Hospital, both of them also struggling with paying of electricity bills. University of Jos got 300%, as Aliko Dangote University is awarded 700% spike.
Now Aliko get that now.
I don't know how that's supposed to, because it went from 30 or thereabouts. No, that's Kano now. So you also have power cuts and darkness in UCH, Uniben, over outstanding bills. You also have the fact that federal government $105 million energizing education program universities have been abandoned for the past 6 years. Tertiary institutions are facing bankruptcy. Officials can afford to pay these things. Stakeholders are telling universities to be innovative to solve their power problems.
What's innovation now?
Solar. That is almost as expensive as electricity at the initial stage, anyways.
What is going to happen is that all these things will now come from, the university should be innovative. There's a way they can generate money to fix this thing. At the end of the day, it's going to come back on the students. So you now ask yourself, Sandra, while the students are waiting anxious to get from the right hand of government, the left hand is already taken away from them. You know what they are getting from the government. We don't even know where they get that. The student loan. Sandra, how do you learn? In a station where there's no power. The classrooms are. We are even in the rainy season now, so the weather is still okay.
Apart
from, Yes, if we get to the dry season now, you see patients where, because a lot of the classes are overfilled. If you go to a public institution, you will know the crowd you see in the classrooms. You know, it's so conducive to learn anything in that environment. In fact, we should praise our students who come out of those institutions and still shine like a million stars in their different, chosen career. But that's the story of Nigeria. That's the story of these same leaders who will tell you there's no money to fund this. Got free education, they got free feeding. Some of them get the best scholarship. They got everything free from government. But they are the ones running the country now, and they'll say there's no money to do anything. But there's money to eat their own insatiable greediness and greed. They can buy SUVs every year. They can buy computers. They can renovate ridiculously. You know, it's just the story of Nigeria. That's what we're saying. The poor man is left with nothing. This same set of people will tell you that, oh, for the poor man, you have to do your own water. There can't be public water for you. You have to fix borehole. For your security, you have to look for OPC or whatever. For life, you have to run on generator.
Which begs the question of what exactly can the average Nigerian say that they are
getting from government. That's exactly the question. That's exactly the question. Subsidy on PMS that used to be the benefit of everybody, you've taken that away. Can you now see the story of the average Nigerian, the ordinary Nigerian?
Alright.
Road, we don't get. Light, no day.
Security,
no day again.
Nothing. It's really unfortunate. Well, the story is on page 6. As high as 700% increase. That's what federal universities are struggling with at this time, especially with federal universities that have, health programs where they also have hospitals, teaching hospitals and whatnot. I mean, UCH has already been cut off. There's no light in UCH. I'm just wondering, the doctors there, the teaching, the student doctors that are there, how are they going to learn? The patients that are there, the family members of those patients, what is going through their mind at this time? It's just
Sandra,
very uncomfortable to think about.
The other doctor that was complaining, the doctor from Port Harcourt that was complaining about this thing. You know what he said? He said that, look, Sandra, just put yourself in the position of a patient, and you approach a hospital, you are feeling unwell, and you approach a hospital and everywhere is well lit, there's light, everything is well lit and what have you. You know, there's a way to fetch your mind. There's a way it gives you some level of confidence that you are in the right place, where you can find solutions to your problem. But just imagine you are going to a hospital, you are unwell, you are sick, and everywhere is dark, there's no light, it's all hot. Yes. What does it first tell you?
It will even add to your problem, sir.
It will even add to your problem. The man also said that, look, a lot of our drugs are supposed to be kept in conditions that require that, look, the hospital should be powered 24 hours.
Yes.
That's why he said sometimes you see that you take some drugs,
spaces,
some of them in refrigerators and what have you. He said that's why you see that some injections you take them, they are so inactive, it doesn't work. Because
or it will be reactive in you
because they be kept in temperature that they should not have been kept. That's the story of the health institution and the story of education.
What, even blood though?
You see?
Even blood though. Not just drugs.
You now see. So, Sandra,
it's really not funny. And we have a Ministry of Health. I just remembered.
And these are very, when they were screening those ministers, you know what we say, oh, these are the best people.
We acknowledged him as the technocrats. Yes. We said, oh, wow, he's going to do something. But I mean,
where is the technocrats now? Where the government offices can't even run a public park are being shut down. Works are being shut down. Whereas every month, more monies are being shared at different levels of government. But the king that concerns the ordinary Nigerian is abandoned. It's left to rot away.
Yeah. The story is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. The fact that blackout looms as 11 universities are struggling with over 2 billion naira bill monthly. Starts on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Moving on now, we have I mentioned this earlier on. NCDC warns of rising yellow fever cases as cholera deaths have hit 103. Please pay attention to your health. That's on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. And also in addendum to that, drug scarcity looms as pharmaceutical companies have suspended raw materials importation. And that's on page 15 of the Guardian newspaper. Moving on now, we also have here police officer nabbed for armed robbery in Kogi State. That's on page 8 of the Guardian newspaper. And Helen, all right. See, it's probably looking forward to it. We also
no, you can't. There's no excuse for that.
I definitely. But it's just the irony of it is just really hilarious. All right. We also have here on the front page of the Guardian, court issues arrest warrant on Kuje prison physician over Binance executive. That is just a quick one on that. Like it played out in the past, typical strategy used by persons that are standing trial. Tigran Gambarayan yesterday arrived at the Federal High Court in a wheelchair. The EFCC brought him to the court.
They told him how we do it here. Somebody told him. Just go there looking sick.
He was wheeled into the court.
Everybody's always sick.
That's really interesting.
Somebody must have told you, don't go there looking healthy. You just go on a stretcher or a wheelchair. I remember when Dino Milai went there. Broken, the neck collar. I think Fayose did the same thing. They are always doing that. So I'm sure somebody gave him the heat.
It's alright. We wish him all the best. The story is on page 3 of the Guardian. Moving on now, we also have here, we've talked about this already. NLC vows 1 month protest if National Assembly passes obnoxious wage bill. That's on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. We also have here Oba Kyolu begs Nigerians for prayers and patience on Tinubu's behalf. That's the Oba of Lagos. And that is on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. Yes, prayers and patience. You pray for the president. And we should also be patient with the president. Yes. All right. That's it.
This is my Oba that is talking. Yes. We accept it.
It's okay.
We continue to pray and be patient.
Can I not accept? I'm an Ogun State person, so
but you say in Lagos, that's the Oba of Lagos talking.
It's alright. Well, that is on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. Moving on now, we also have here Kano presses fresh charges against Ganduje as House OK second MS. So let's quickly look at this for because we have just a minute left on the show. The Kano situation. So apparently, some of the deposed emirs, that's for Gaye, Karano and Co, were as second-class emirs. Yes. So what the reports? Oh no. Sorry, I'm struggling to get the report here now. Oh, I think it's not there. All right, yes, thank you. I've gotten it. All right, so what the report is giving now is that the State House of Assembly has passed a fresh bill for the creation of 3 emirate councils with second-class traditional authority into law. So they're kind of still under the Kano State Emirate, council. All right, so moving the second class traditional rulers. The proposed legislation at plenary is the creation of second class monarchs that would further dignify traditional heritage in the country. All right, that's a quick update as regards the Kano emirship tussle against the Ganduje conversation with Kano State. We wish them all the best as regards that. All right, very quickly, the major headline on the front page of Vanguard as we wrap things up. We have totally run out of time at this time now, so we'll just quickly read out the headlines on the front page of Vanguard. The major one is federal government policies is crippling businesses, and that's coming from NECA, that's Employers Consultative Association, and also Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, NASIMA, Chambers of Industry and Commerce, and
that man, I didn't know
NECA has listed 6 major problem areas. NLC threatens to shut Nigeria. Seeks NECA's partnership to end slave wage. The story is on page 5. It's a very interesting read as regards what business owners are going through at this time in Lagos. There's a lot that they are going through in this time in Nigeria. Generally speaking, the whole country actually. That's the major headline and that's the major story on the front page of Vanguard. We'll take a short break now. Thank you very much, Fuad, but please be on standby. We'll be back by 8:40 for Mainland Focus, where we'll look at the 2 focal points that we'll be picking up from the major stories that we have treated this morning. This is Mainland 98.3 FM. We'll be right back.